Let's dive into Ruby's training so we can stay consistent at home. Whenever we're working with Ruby, we want to make sure we encourage the behavior we want to continue to see from her by rewarding that with either treats, praise, or petting. That will increase the rate of that behavior happening. So, whether she's listening to a command or if she does a good behavior on her own, we want to make sure we encourage that from her. We also want to follow through when she doesn't do what she's supposed to with the training equipment. So, let's go over how to use that. We have the prong collar here. So we're going to use this for walks. It's going to be attached to the D-ring, the one that swivels. That way it'll swivel with the leash. Now, putting this on and taking it off, it's about technique, not strength. What we need to do is this link right here needs to go down. So if we make them parallel and we push through, we'll be able to take the collar off and then put it around Ruby. And then we need to squeeze this link into the one above it. So when we're using this collar, we need to make sure that we keep the leash nice and loose. So we don't want constant tension on this leash. What'll happen is she could either get used to the pressure or it could frustrate her and then she'll just pull into it harder. So we don't want to do that. When we use this to correct any unwanted behavior or follow through with a command, we're going to say no, pop, and release it. So for example, let's go over the command heel. Heel means walk next to us on a loose leash. So about 80% of your walk, she should be in the heel position. If she decides to walk ahead or do anything other than walk right next to us, we're going to say no, pop and release the leash, and then give her the reminder, heel, give her that command again so she remembers, oh, that's what I'm supposed to be doing, walking next to us. And then when she is walking next to us, good heel, and we can give her a treat or give her a little pet on the head while we're walking. Now, the other 20% of the heel, you can tell, or your walk, you can tell her free, and that's her time to sniff and walk around, and we follow her. So we make sure the leash stays loose by following her around. Where in a heel, she needs to stay right next to us on the left-hand side with a loose leash. So that's how we're going to use the collar here. It is going to be a pop and release, not a pull, but pop, pop, to remind her what she should be doing, especially if we give her a command. Then we have the remote collar. So let's go over how to turn this on. We have the little magnet right here. That is going to turn the collar itself on. So on the remote, you have a matching red dot. That's the matching magnet. We're going to touch these two together. You're going to see a green light flash. That lets you know that the collar is on, charged, ready to go. Now back here, we have the on-off light, or on-off button, I should say. It's also the flashlight button, but we'll go over that later. We're going to push and hold that until the screen lights up. Now on Ruby's screen here, you should see 25. That is the level that's working for her right now. This could change. We have the dial, and I'll show you how to do all that at the end of the video. But right now, we're going to focus on the black S button. So how and when to use the remote collar. Again, it's the same like you would do with the prong collar, but this allows us to get to the point of off-leash training, right? Because with the prong collar, we have to have a leash to pop it. With this, we just have to keep the remote with us. So for example, in heel, you want to use both in the beginning because you want to let her know that the rules are the same everywhere, and eventually you want to get to the point where you rely more on this. So again, we get to that eventual off-leash goal, right? So how to use this. Let's say she's in the heel, doing really good, but something catches her eye and she wants to walk ahead, lunge this way, whatever. Do something other than walking nicely calm next to us. We're going to say no, push the black S button, and then reminder heel. So no, heel, no, heel. And you can see my thumb twitches just a little bit. That is the TENS unit in the collar. So it's an electric muscle stimulator, and it just gives her muscle a little stimulation. It's not meant to scare her or anything. She responds really well to it. And then we move on. We go, okay, now we do the heel and give her an opportunity to do the command right so we can then reward her. So let's go over all the commands. So we already know heel means walk next to us on a loose leash. We have sit, which now means stay until she's told either free or heel. Because you can tell her, okay, it's time to get up, walk with me with the command heel instead of saying free heel. Free is the release term of you don't have to be in that set command or behavior anymore. You are free, like on a walk, free to sniff. In a sit, free to get up. So if she gets up before you say free, follow through. If she stays in the sit until you say free, make sure to at minimum praise her. But again, in the beginning, I want you to reward a lot of those good behaviors you see from Ruby so she continues to offer them even on her own without being told the command. Then we have down. Down means lay down and stay until she is told free. Now the difference between this one and sit is it's a little bit of a longer duration and we don't want to release from a distance. So for example, with sit, If you have her sit and then you go through your front doorway and then tell her free, that's releasing from a little bit of a distance. With down, we want to make sure we always go back to her, tell her she did a good job, and then tell her free. Because you don't want to release from a distance with a downstay because, again, it's a longer duration, and we want her to think she needs to wait until we come release her. Don't run across the room, especially if you're going to practice out in public. That way she knows to stay put. If she gets up before you say free, no, follow through with the remote collar, and then of course the leash is needed. You're going to use both with each command, but it's just going to take a while to see what works for you at home. Then we have place. Place is a boundary stay. So it's similar to down, but the only difference is, the main difference I should say, is she has to stay on a boundary. So for example, like this box, all 4 paws have to stay on the boundary. If she steps off, no, and then we put her back. We follow through and then put her back. Where down, she has to stay laying down. With place, she can stand, sit, or lay down. She just has to stay within the boundaries of the bed. So this is great for when guests come over. That way you don't have to put her in another room or put her in the crate, because she gets so excited the first time you have guests over. Make sure you put a leash on her just so you can help her back to the bed if she needs it. And to follow through with the remote collar, of course. So have her on place. When she stays, good place. We're going to reward putting the treat on the bed. That way she wants to stay on that boundary. The boundary is the positive zone. And then if she steps off, no, follow through, fix her, and then have your guest do whatever distraction that enticed her to get off. That way she understands, okay, no matter what they do, I need to stay on here until I'm told free, and we go up to the boundary, release, and then she can go say hi. Again, it has to be a little bit calmer, but if we start with a calm mindset, then she's less likely to, get super duper excited when she sees people, which she's still going to get excited, just not over the top. Then we have come when called. So when you're working with Ruby, if you're not in a fenced-in area, you need to have a 30 to 50 foot safety net leash on her when practicing come when called, because you're going to tell her free, and this is her time to explore and get the zoomies and run around. But when you say Ruby come or come, she needs to stop whatever she's doing and come to us. If she doesn't, we follow through with the remote collar, reel her in like a fish if needed, but we mostly rely on the remote collar. And then when she does come to you, even though we had to follow through and say no, we are still going to reward the action of her coming into our space, have her sit, reward, tell her free, try it again if she didn't listen the first time, because we want her to have a positive association with coming into our space. Now, if you're practicing in a fenced-in area, you don't have a leash on her, and she's running around, she just runs up to us without us asking her to come when we call, we're going to reward that, because we want that a positive association of coming into our space is a great thing. Continue to do so. That way, if there's ever a big distraction, she has that reward history of it's a positive thing to go back to my owner. A reward history is just a positive association with doing a certain behavior over and over and over again and getting a positive result from it. So then we have leave it. Leave it means don't grab that, don't touch that. So you can practice with food, you can practice with items. You drop something on the ground, you tell her leave it. If she shows interest, we follow through with the remote collar. If she does leave alone, we of course want to reward that good decision that she made. So those are her commands. The important thing again is have fun, stay consistent. You want to follow through, reward the behaviors you want to continue to see from Ruby. Use these training tools to decrease the behaviors you don't want to see from Ruby. That way she understands what your rules and boundaries are in the home. So have fun, stay consistent, and now we're going to show you Ruby's commands.
I just didn't want to get to a farm and not have one. Is there a way? How do you take off these ropes to change the battery?
Down. Good girl. Down. Good, down. Good, down. Good, down. Good, down. Free. Good girl. Good job. Okay. Good job. Leave it. All right, let's dive into the other functions of Ruby's remote collar. So we know how to turn the collar on and off. Well, let's turn it off so you can see that. So touching the two red dots again, red means off, green means on. This should last 2 days on a charge if you turn it off at night. The on-off button in the back, you're going to push and hold that until the screen is blank. Push and hold. Perfect. All right, so let's go over the boost button, which is this red button here. This is going to add 25 levels to whatever level is on the screen because it's for emergencies only. We only use this in really serious situations where, let's say, you're practicing training with Ruby and all of a sudden you're to the point where you're practicing off leash and she takes off for the road. Oh my gosh, no, come. And she's got her eyes on something. She's not stopping. That's where we tap the boost button. What happens is if her adrenaline's up, level 25 just isn't going to cut it. So we need to have something to match that adrenaline, which would be the boost button plus 25. So it's just for emergencies, not for a daily use at all. Then we have this button over here. It has a T on it, stands for toner, but it's actually vibrate. Now, in the future, you can use this as a warning for Ruby. If she's doing pretty well, but she's starting to slip up a little bit, like starting to try and chew on something, hey, give her a little vibrate. That way it's something, but it's not a full correction like on level 25. And now let's go over how to change the level. So this is the dial right here. It's not moving because we do have it locked. To unlock it, you're going to push and hold for a couple seconds. As soon as you see the 1D at the top flashing, that's when you know you can adjust the level. So as dogs get older, as they mature, and as their skills become stronger with practice, you can change the level. Usually it goes down because right now she's probably at her most distracted age. So as she matures, you won't need as high of a level, and this isn't high or anything, it's 25 out of 100, but it could go down and still have the same effect. So if you notice that she's doing pretty well and you've practiced for a while now, go ahead and try turning it down and seeing if that works for her. I would turn it down by like 5. So, but the opposite could also happen. If she's more distracted, we need to go up by 5. So it just depends on how she's doing and how she matures through puppyhood. Now to lock it in place, so we have it set, we're going to push down and hold for a couple seconds until that 1D at the very top is solid. Okay, now the on-off button, I said it was a light at the beginning of the video. So if you tap that and tap it again, she has a little flashlight so you can see her at night, which is kind of cool to have that. The little M/C button over there stands for momentary or continuous. So momentary is when you push and hold the black S button or the red S button, and it only stimulates that momentary second in time, where continuous will stimulate for the time that your finger is on the button. We use that in the beginning of training on a very low level to introduce what the collar means. So we would stimulate, have her do a command that she already knows. That way she understood what that feeling was. And now we use it only as needed when she gets too distracted. So this is rechargeable. Right here is the charging port for the remote and for the collar under here. She should wear this every day. Now when you put it on, it has this nice quick strap. Have the collar part either over here or over here, anywhere in the bottom of her neck. That's usually just the more sensitive part. But every day, it's just like putting on a pair of glasses. It's just like putting on your watch. You want it every day. That way you forget about it. Because if we only use it when she's acting up, she knows that we can only control her when she's acting up. So we want to make sure that we have it on every day so we can hold her to the new boundaries we want to have at home. All right, and then the contents in the box, we have her charger here, which again, every 2 days, you can put it on the charger. She does not have long hair, so we don't have to worry about the extenders. Extra lanyard here. And at the bottom of the tray, we have the manual. So that'll go over all the buttons in greater detail. This also has a 2-year full warranty. So if anything happens to it, if it starts acting funny in 2 years, you're going to call the company and they're going to get you. Oh, this is a clicker for clicker training. You can use that as a marker tool for a reward. Instead, just to make it easy, we just say good and then we follow through with giving her a treat. So praise versus having a clicker as a marker. But that's the info for the company. So I would save this box or at least take a picture of it. That way, if something happens in the next 2 years to the collar or the remote, you can get it replaced. All right. So those are the other details of the remote collar. Just use it as needed. Again, stay consistent with it. She should have this on every day. First thing in the morning it goes on, last thing at night it comes off. One more thing, it is waterproof. So she can go swimming, she can get wet with it on. However, you want to make sure that her skin is dry before putting this back on. So if she goes swimming in the morning, it does need to come off until she's dry. Not because it'll do anything to the collar, but because the way it fits is snug. So you want it to be snug so the prongs don't rub against her skin. And if moisture gets under there, it could create like a hot spot. So you want to make sure we don't leave it on if she's wet. So those are the details of a remote collar. Have fun, stay consistent, reward what you want to keep behavior-wise, follow through with what you want to get rid of behavior-wise, and let us know if you have any questions.